All right, today we're going to talk about someone who is, frankly, a legend. We're diving into the incredible story of Birsa Munda.
I mean, think about it. How does a man who died at just 25, over 100 years ago, become this huge national icon? It's a really fascinating question. His rebellion was actually pretty brief, but his impact? It's still shaping modern India. And to figure out why, we've got to look not just way back then, but it's something that happened very, very recently. That year is 2021. Yeah, that recently. Over a century after he died, one single decision kind of locked in his place in the nation's heart forever. So, get this. The government of India declared his birthday, November 15th, as Janjatiya Gaurav Varsh, which means Tribal Pride Day. I mean, that's just a huge deal, a national day of honor, all for him. So what on earth did this young guy do to earn a legacy that strong? Well, let's dive in and find out. So, to get this story, we have to go back to a world of tradition, a world that was, well, about to get completely turned on its head. So, Birsa Munda was born into the Munda tribe in what's now Jharkhand. And he was a smart kid. He even went to a mission school. But something happened there. He started to see what was really going on. He realized that this education wasn't just about reading and writing. It was a tool for religious conversion designed to chip away at the very culture of his people. And that was his first real look at the colonial playbook. Now, to really get what happens next, you have to understand this thing called the Kunt Kati system. It's so important. For the Munda people, land wasn't like a deed in a filing cabinet. It wasn't something one person owned. Nope. It belonged to everyone, to the whole community. It was a shared resource for the good of all. This was literally the foundation of their entire society. And this is where everything goes wrong. You've got these two worlds just smashing into each other. The British show up and they bring their zamindari system, which just completely steamrolls the Munda way of life. Suddenly, that communal ownership? Gone. Replaced by private landlords. Labor for the community? Nope. Now it's forced labor, or begari. And those shared customary rights? Out the window. Now you've got crazy high rents and the constant fear of being kicked off your own land. It was a total, systematic dismantling of everything they knew. So, with his whole world basically under attack, Birsa Munda wasn't about to just sit back and watch. No way. He answered the call. He stepped up to lead. And in doing so, he sparked one of the most significant tribal uprisings in all of India's history. The rebellion he led has a name, the Ulgulan. It's such a powerful word. It translates to the Great Tumult. And believe me, it was exactly that. A massive, fierce struggle to take back their rights, their land, and maybe most importantly, their dignity. And the goal here wasn't just about fighting against something. It was about fighting for something. Birsa had this incredible vision of a Munda Raj, a society governed by the Munda people themselves, totally free from the exploitation of the British and the landlords they put in charge. He was really smart about this too. He knew that you can't have political freedom without cultural and spiritual strength. So what did he do? He founded a new faith, Burzide. It was this amazing blend of their own indigenous beliefs with the idea of a single God. It gave his people a unified purpose. So yeah, he wasn't just a political leader, he was a spiritual guide too. And make no mistake, the Ulgulan was not some peaceful protest. This was an active fight. Birsa's followers used guerrilla tactics. They used armed resistance. They launched these very specific, targeted attacks against the symbols of British rule. We're talking police stations, government offices, and yeah, even churches, which they saw as being part of the whole oppressive system. But a fight like this, a fight for freedom, it always comes at a cost. And for Birsa Munda, that cost was going to be everything. He was about to pay the ultimate price for his vision. The British were understandably pretty threatened by how big this rebellion was getting. So they launched this huge effort to capture him. And they did. In March of 1900, he was arrested. And just 3 months after that, he died in a British jail. He was only 25 years old, just 25. A revolutionary, a prophet, a voice for thousands of people. Gone. Right in the prime of his life. And you have to imagine, at that exact moment, it must have felt like it was all over. A tragic, final end to this incredible cause. But it wasn't the end. Not even close. In a strange, powerful way, his death actually became the catalyst for the very change he fought and died for. His sacrifice lit a fire so big the British just couldn't ignore it anymore. So check this out. You can draw a straight line from his rebellion to this victory. The Ulgulan put so much pressure on the British that their hand was forced. They had to do something. And so, just 8 years after he died, they passed the Chotanagpur Tenancy Act of 1908. This was a landmark law. It did exactly what Birsa had been fighting for. It protected tribal lands from being snatched up by non-tribals, and it legally protected the community's rights. He won.
So his life was incredibly short, right? But his death secured a future for his people. And as we're about to see, his legacy didn't just survive. It's actually gotten stronger and stronger over time. Just look at this timeline. It's truly remarkable. You have the act passed in 1908, a direct result of his fight. Then, fast forward to the year 2000, the state of Jharkhand is created, and guess what day they chose to found it on? His birthday, November 15th. And then, of course, you have 2021, when that birthday becomes Tribal Pride Day. See? His influence hasn't faded at all. It's like it's been reborn and turned up louder with every single generation. You know, his followers gave him this title that just perfectly captures who he was to them. Dharti Abba. It means father of the earth. And that's so perfect, right? Because he wasn't just fighting for people, he was fighting for their land, for their identity, for their entire connection to the world around them. And here's the thing. As India gets ready to celebrate what would be his 150th birthday in November 2025, his story, this incredible story of justice, self-rule, and cultural pride, it feels more relevant today than maybe ever before. And that brings us right back to that question we started with. What does it take? What does it take for the fight of one 25-year-old to echo for generations, to literally help shape the identity of a nation? Well, I think Birsa Munda's story gives us the answer. It takes a crystal clear vision, it takes courage that just won't break, and it takes a sacrifice so profound that it forces the entire world to stop and listen, not just then, but for more than a century to come.